Today we're going to talk about how to store your spare parts for all of your firearms. So assuming I have a lot of preparedness-minded people in my audience, I decided to do a video on how I store a lot of the smaller parts for all of my firearms. Obviously I wouldn't leave it out here in my shop/garage because it's not a secure environment, but storing these in my storeroom, in my safe, they're perfectly fine. And there's really nothing in here that's going to build a firearm or do any damage. However, there's a lot of expensive parts in here, so I don't want to lose them. I used to have just a big bin that I tossed everything in, and I still have that bin for larger parts like old stocks and things that I take off that I replace, maybe older scopes that I no longer use. And, you know, from time to time I'll go online and sell that stuff off and put the money towards something else. But this is for my higher quality replacement parts. Now, I always tell people when you get a new firearm, the first thing you want to do is get ammo for it, get magazines for it, and get spare parts for it. Now, of course, training for it comes along with all of that. But it's really important to have the things because as we experienced in 2012, something as simple as a lower parts kit like here for an AR-15 went from being a $40, maybe $50 item for a bare bones basic kit to well over $200. So it's important to have a way to store all that valuable stuff in an organized manner. And this is how I do it. And I kind of have each section. I haven't labeled them, but I know what's in them. Like I know down here is my Glock parts, and I happen to have some Uzi grips in there too, but it's mostly all Glock parts. I have Glock springs in this section, extra recoil springs in case I break one. And you know, I've never broken one. One of the newer Gen 4 ones I had was the incorrect type, and it did end up getting damaged by the slide over time, but Glock sent me 2 replacements for free, so I really couldn't complain. So basically what I've done is I've taken, like my AK parts are up here, I've taken each section and given it a purpose. It may not have a defined purpose. I mean, I may have an extra piece and go, oh, where do I put this? All right, well, I'll throw it back in here with my crush washers for my AR-15s. But at least it's an organized way of storing things. Over here, I have some extra Glock springs, just in case any of my springs go bad. And I have my extra bolt and bolt carrier. This was probably used for about 200-300 rounds, and I ended up upgrading the upper, sold off the upper receiver, but kept the bolt carrier because, hey, you can never have enough spare parts. I have a couple of extra gas tubes with the roll pin pre-started so I don't lose it. You know, just the little basic parts. So what you want to do really is you want to go online and you want to learn as much as you can about whatever weapon system you purchased. And then you want to find out what the failures are. There are lots of sites online. There are a good place for that info is rental places. If you have a machine gun rental store in your area, I know Las Vegas has like 6 of them, 7 or 8 maybe. Just go in there and ask to say, hey, you know, would you mind if I talk to your armorer about parts that commonly fail? There were a couple good threads online from one of the owners of Battlefield Vegas that goes through all the parts that fail on a weapon that's used every single day on the line, day in, day out. And it's interesting because they're parts you would never expect. And different types of receivers that might break, whatever. So anyway, this is my storage system. This is a tool fishing tackle box. I bought it at Walmart, and I actually probably am going to get a bigger one pretty soon. But I figured I'd do the video because I know right now is a good time to start looking at getting everything you need because the elections are coming up. And that includes magazines, that includes spare parts, springs, anything you could possibly think that could fail on your gun. And you don't have to buy a ton of them. 1 or 2 of, you know, the little tiny springs in a lower receiver that might break. Stuff like that is really, really handy. So it's a pretty simple setup. Works pretty well for me. The only thing I can't manage to fit in here is an extra barrel that I have for one of my Glocks, but it just sits on top. And again, if you have bigger parts, you can always get a parts bin. I have another bin that holds, you know, some older stocks and things like that. But for something like this, you know, I mean, even if you wanted to integrate this, if you don't have as many parts as I have for stuff, you could integrate it as a cleaning kit as well. You know, there's no reason why you can't, if you don't have all this stuff, just put a couple of tubes of cleaning solvent and lubricant or whatever, and you have a handy range kit, maybe even a few tools, so if something breaks at the range, you can fix it. I know all of my AR-15s have the, DPMS used to sell them, I forget. They're actually Rock River Arms kits, but they're the emergency repair kits for, you know, things that might break while you're out at the range. Extra firing pins, stuff like that for AR-15s. And, well, I keep all, you know, at least one with every gun. It's nice to have a nice setup at home like this where you know, oh, okay, I need a recoil spring for my Glock 17. Well, here you go. Here are 2 new ones, you know. So I always know where stuff is. Anyway, that's the idea for today. Just trying to help people get a little more organized. We are going into an election season. There's going to be absolute panic and chaos like there always is, even if it looks like everything is going to go gun owners' ways. People are going to inflate prices. People are going to go crazy. So if you are buying a new AR-15 right now, now is the time to get everything you need for it. I generally recommend people get, you know, about 10 magazines, at least 1,000 rounds of ammo that you keep at home and don't train with. Preferably some decent quality ammo that you're going to keep. But if all you can afford is maybe 5 magazines and 500 rounds of the cheapest ammo you can find, you're better off than 99% of the gun owners who just buy a gun, buy a box of ammo and stick it up on the shelf and forget about it. So anyway, that's the video for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys soon again.